Standing in the wake of this train wreck, my heart is beating faster in my chest. This depression terrifies me. When I'm awake, it's like these thoughts, they paralyze me. I don't wanna feel like this. I don't wanna feel like this. Time stops, weightless and cold. Silence burns like fire while my fears unfold. There's panic. Tooth to my cheek, too hard to speak without you. Lungs drained of air, life feels unfair without you. Come back to me, don't leave me to dream about you, dream about you, dream about you. How can I breathe without you? How can I breathe without you? Without you. What is left to say when the sky falls? I'm staring at your ghost in the stars. There's not a day that I don't miss you. The feeling swelling overflow. It's like I see you, hear you. I don't wanna feel like this. Why do I still feel like this? Heart ripped out of my brain. I sit here talking to myself. I think I'm going insane. Tooth to my cheek, too hard to speak without you. Lungs drained of air, life feels unfair without you. Come back to me, don't leave me to dream about you, dream about you, dream about you. How can I breathe without you? How can I breathe without you? The only way to fix this, the only way to fix this pain inside, the only way to fix this is a deep breath in as you say goodbye.
I kick ass for the Lord.
What about me?
I never loved him the way that I love you. Just drops the mic.
Fit me with his butt.
Can't see it from here.
What about the panty?
What about the panty? What's up, Butters? What is it? Gosh, he scared me. Oh my gosh.
Surprise.
He's a jokester. Wow. Well, hello and welcome to 52/1993. This is the live movie conversation podcast where we discuss movies from the year 1993. I am your host, Cody, and I am joined by my co-host this week, the star of Talk to Me, Joe Sawyer.
I wish, right?
Oh man, did you finally watch it?
No.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
come on,
talk about
man. Whatever. Well, for all those people that have just come in, or if this is your first time joining us, welcome in. We are happy for you to join us today. Just to give you a little heads up, what we do here is we watch 52 movies from the year 1993, important movies released this year. Typically do them by their weekend releases, and it doesn't matter if they're good, they're bad, or they're ugly. We will talk about them, and usually they're pretty good. Some of them, it's nice to reflect and go back 30 years and see how you feel differently about a movie that you once loved or maybe hated, and you can look back fondly or not fondly and say, man, this was not good, or man, this was way better than I anticipated. But usually I have a guest host to talk about the movie with, and if they're new, I'll interview them about their interests and movies, and if they're not new, like normal, we'll just go over some of the things that they have watched, or maybe we'll go off topic. We'll talk about A24 and Talk to Me, or the greatest season of television and why it's lost season 2, or maybe we'll do that. Who knows? But welcome into everybody. We're glad you're here, and we're glad to talk about this movie this week. And I hope you're excited to talk about this movie with me. It's called True Romance. So let's talk about it. Joseph, before I get into everything, learning more and more about that, is this your first time watching True Romance?
First time.
First time, really?
Yep.
I almost wish we would have watched it before we did our Tarantino rankings.
Right.
I think it would have been interesting to talk about this. And
Yeah, because it's like in there, right? Like it's
yeah, I think this is a part of like the lore and everything. And we'll talk about why it is. But first impression, what did you think?
I liked it. For the most part. I mean, I feel like most of Tarantino has some elements that are difficult. That's kind of part of his brand. But a lot of people really place high esteem on some of that. So, is what it is. But yeah, it was interesting seeing a kind of a Tarantino movie that I'd never seen before. So
yeah,
I enjoyed that.
Maybe we should watch Natural Born Killers next, just to
Spoiler.
to get into it.
I already ruined one of my pairings. Jeez.
Oh my gosh, come on. My bad. I don't know if you saw in the chat, but that somebody said that they have that coffee mug.
Oh, this one here?
Using. Yeah. Troy and Abed.
We're best friends now, whoever you are. I can't see the chat, so.
No, that's okay. I'll let you know who it is and whatnot. I used to have that mug as well. The person
back when we were best friends.
Back when we were best friends. I don't remember who. I feel like you got it for me. Not you, Joseph. I feel like Ryan in chat is the one that got it for me. And it broke, sadly. And it was really a bad day when that coffee mug broke. So I just need to get a new one. I can't wait on a friend to buy me another one. I should just get it so we could be the 3 best friends.
Well, maybe a true romantic in the audience will hear your situation. And
what a good segue. You should be a podcast host.
You think?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go. Let me talk about this movie and before we get into our categories and talk about problematic things and everything that this movie has to offer. So again, it's called True Romance. It came out September 10th, 1993. It was directed by Tony Scott. It's written by Quentin Tarantino, and it stars Christian Slater in the lead role of Clarence Worley, Patricia Arquette as Alabama Whitman Worley, Dennis Hopper as Clifford Worley, Michael Rappaport, Dick Ritchie, Saul Rubinek as Lee Donowitz, Bronson Pinchot as Elliot Blitzer, Gary Oldman as Drexel, Christopher Walken as Vincenzo Cacciotti or Caccacci. I don't know. I'm not Italian. I'm sorry. And I apologize to all of our Italian viewers. Brad Pitt as Floyd, Val Kilmer as Elvis, Chris Penn as Detective Nicky Dimes, Tom Sizemore as Detective Cody Nicholson, James Gandolfini's in here as Virgil. There are other like character actors in here that are kind of sprinkled throughout that you would be like, that guy or that guy. I've seen him in something. There's a lot of those in there. I named off a lot of people in this cast because it's a big cast and they're all serving important functions. The synopsis of this movie is a comic book nerd and Elvis fanatic, Clarence, and a prostitute, that should be corrected, it should be sex worker, named Alabama fall in love. Clarence breaks the news to her pimp and ends up killing him. He grabs a suitcase of cocaine on his way out, thinking it's Alabama's clothing. The two hit the road for California, hoping to sell the cocaine, but the mob is soon after them. The budget for this movie is $12.5 million, and it made $12.6 million.
Hey,
Not great.
positive though, you know.
It is positive. It is positive. They made $100,000. Rotten Tomatoes, however, gives it a really high score of 93%. Probably one of our, it's probably top 4 or 5 now of all the movies we've done. And IMDb has a rating of 7.9 out of 10. I like one of these reviews that I'm going to read off, and I think this time around when I watched it, it plays a little bit more into what I think. First, there are a few objections to True Romance that I haven't thought of, and I dismiss them all with a wave of the hand. This is the kind of movie that creates its own universe and glories in it. Roger Ebert, he gave it 3 out of 4 stars. And then this other one is from Variety. It didn't list who wrote this, but it just says Variety. It said that it provides some amazing encounters, bravura acting turns, and gruesome carnage, but it doesn't add up to enough. And that's just Variety. And just for a little bit more, about how people think of this film, the magazine Empire ranked True Romance as the 83rd greatest film of all time in 2017.
Wow.
People really like this movie and are very impressed with this movie. So I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. I'm curious to know what your score is of this movie. So we kind of talked about it a little bit before, and this was your first time watching it, but what did you think? Like, can you give me a little bit of like your review of this?
Without, a little teaser without doing the full like star review. Yeah. I kind of feel like that second review is probably pretty close to where I'm at. It did kind of seem to come up a little bit like lacking, which is hard to put definition to, because I felt like the casting, like, Tarantino. I know he didn't direct it, and just apparently he wasn't even on set at all, from what I read. But
yeah,
but still, like the casting was great. Like I didn't really feel like anybody didn't do a good job. So that part was really awesome. And then the writing was like his normal sharp, like sometimes problematic, but always like super gratuitous. So it was okay. Like I enjoyed most of it, and especially as a first watch, I was like, okay,
yeah,
that's good.
I'm really glad this was your first watch, because I feel like and somebody in chat said that this was so much better than they remembered, and then said, but I still have 30 minutes left. So you can watch that as you watch this.
It's a big 30 minutes.
That's a big 30 minutes. You're right. So like, I loved this movie. I think I've had it on VHS. I think I've had it on DVD, Blu-ray. I've had every physical copy of it. It is not playing in the background right now. Unfortunately, another Gary Oldman classic, The Professional, is playing on in the background. That's the closest I could get. I have been looking for this on VHS fervently, though. I don't know. There was something about this rewatch that I did where I was like, I was a little turned off in areas. Some of the acting I thought, and like mostly from one person, even though I love this person. I thought, and I don't know, there were just bits and pieces of this movie where I was like, that didn't work for me. That didn't work for me. I don't know. I've seen this movie so many times. Like I've said, on this rewatch, I just noticed things that I probably should have noticed way sooner. And we'll talk
Do you
about
think
that.
it was Scott, or sorry, this may be like getting into a whole thing you don't want to get into early, but
No, we can
do you
talk
think it
about
was Scott or Tarantino, or
I think that what I heard or what I've read is that the adaptation of this is pretty close to Tarantino's original script. Now, do I
Okay.
think that there's probably some editing or something that could have been done along the way, or some differences to because they did change some things, and I'm okay with the changes to the script, but I don't know. It's this problem that I love Tarantino. I think he's one of the greatest, filmmakers we've had in the last like 30 years. And probably, one of the most important filmmakers that we've had for that long. But like this one and we'll talk about it. Let's just go through our conversation and we'll see where we get to, or what we agree with, or what we don't like about it. And I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about. So first off, let's talk about the best scenes in this movie. I'm going to start with you. Don't know if
Okay.
we're ever, sometimes there's a lag with us. So I'm going to start with you. I'm going to see what you have as your first big scene.
Yeah, I feel like most of the ones I wrote down are pretty, like there's definitely like the big explosive moments. So we probably overlap quite a bit. But my first one was just kind of like the meeting and like first date / one night stand. Well, not one night stand, but sexual encounter and aftermath. Kind of just lumped all that together, starting from like the theater to when she like confessed that she was hired, which was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like the whole theater moment was also quite hilarious. Like you could tell immediately from the audience that it was like very intentional, like who is like spilling their whole bucket of popcorn on somebody. And then just like she was super aggressive after that, and just kind of like turned into like seemingly a very authentic date. And then they do their thing in the bedroom, and she's like torn up because she's a call girl. Or sex worker, I guess.
Sex worker, as we would call them now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a whore. You can't say that.
You do not call a whore or a hooker or a prostitute. Yeah, and somebody just said in chat, I was surprised with how romantic the opening actually was. It was very romantic. And I actually think they had really good chemistry between it. And it was interesting because Christian Slater's character, Clarence, like does this whole spiel. It's like he has like, I only work in these. I talk about Elvis and I talk about kung fu movies, and he tries to lay this on thick with this other woman at a bar, and she's kind of vibing with it. And he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go see these movies. You want to come?" And she's like, "No." She's kind of like, "No, you lost me. 3 kung fu movies."
Kung fu, man.
Yeah, just
Not
kind of
for
lost
everybody.
her. And then like he has this encounter with Patricia Arquette's character Alabama, and yeah, it really is like she had only been on the job, what'd she say, 4 years or 4 days, sorry,
4
not 4
days,
years,
yeah.
4 days, so she's not like a professional at this, and I don't think her character knows how to be a call girl, I guess. and she only knows how to have a genuine encounter. I would say, I'm assuming that she would only know how to have a genuine encounter with a person or be like that personable with somebody that quickly. So it comes off very natural. And yeah, I thought I agree with the chat, how romantic it is. I did feel like this I don't know. It came off very much in the same vein as like, it's like a offshoot of like Manic Pixie Dream Girl kind of thing, where she just happens to like be interested in all this dumb shit that he's talking
The
about.
same stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's go to my comic book store.
Yeah. And she's like, okay, yeah,
Love it.
let's
Yeah.
do it. So it is a little bit Manic Pixie Dream Girl esque. But it kind of does fit her personality. Like all this stuff, this kitschy stuff that he's into, it kind of fits her personality too. I mean, for Christ's sakes, her name's Alabama. It's like she the way she dresses or presents herself, her personality, it all kind of fits. But yeah, that was the first scene that I had written down as well, was the date scene, because I mean, it sets up the whole rest of the movie, like how in love these two people are.
Yeah, I mean, they get married. They like go to the courthouse. Is it like the next day?
The next day, yeah.
Or like, it's so quick.
This
Yeah.
all happens, I think, in the span of a week total.
Jeez.
The part I really
Yeah.
like about the date scene, I think, is the aftermath. Like when she's sitting out, that's a cool kind of apartment to have, I think, like behind the
Billboard access.
Yeah, billboard access. That's kind of cool and everything. And she's just sitting out there. He's assumed she was gone, kind of thing. And she kind of just bears her soul. Like, I wasn't trying to fall in love with you. I screwed up. Like, I'm supposed to be a call girl, and I left you a note and I couldn't do it. And I really like her in this scene. He's fine.
Yeah. He's all right. Yeah, it was, especially as a first watch for me. Like, I didn't really know. Like, I mean, I try not to read the synopsis or anything before I go into a first watch, but I did for this, like, see that it was going to be like more of like a crime caper, I guess, or maybe that's not right, but not what I was expecting. After like this opening scene kind of threw me, because I really wasn't expecting any like real like sort of romance to be involved.
Not even from the title?
No, not at all. I thought it was going to be like, ironic, I guess. I don't know.
It is kind of. I get it. What's your second scene that you have put down?
Second scene I got is when we visit Drexel.
Yeah. So when Clarence actually goes to meet Drexel, not the side story Drexel we get before that.
No, not the side story with Samuel L. for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, Samuel L. getting in there for a couple seconds. Yeah, that's exactly the second scene I have there. What do you think about Gary Oldman in this scene?
From an acting standpoint, like, it's very impressive. I have to say. And also, like, the eye that he has there is like really, really creeped me out. Like, but kind of cringy, like, objectively, I feel like I know that's the character. Like, he's supposed to be that way. A white guy thinking he's not white.
Is it White Boy Day?
Yeah, White Boy Day, like, yeah, and he did it, and I know from what I read, he's like super proud of what he did with this character, and yeah, he acted super well, but it's one of the like harder parts for me to watch.
This is one of, what did he say, 2 characters that he is the most proud of.
Is the other one The Professional?
I don't think it is. I love I love him in The Professional. I forget what it might be. Churchill? It might be Churchill, which would be boring. Yeah. But no, his role as Drexel, like, it's also very reminiscent of Seth Green from the movie Can't Hardly Wait. If you've ever seen Can't Hardly Wait, he essentially this whole movie is White Boy Day. That chat said that this whole movie is White Boy Day. So with this Drexel scene, this is when I don't know why I had this realization. Every character in this movie is Quentin Tarantino. Every character. Or it's wish, and somebody in chat said it's wish fulfillment for sure. So, like, yes, Clarence is Quentin Tarantino to a T.
I get that one.
That is that one. And then him getting the girl, this, vivacious blonde bombshell who's into everything that he wants. Like
Nerdy
that's
shit.
yeah, into all his nerdy shit. What is this guy? Drexel is his like desire to like as a white man to, be a part of African American. Yeah. Appropriate African American culture. He's also Dick Ritchie, which we'll get to. Like a failing actor, or not a failing actor, but a struggling actor. That is something that Tarantino was going through. You can find clips of him in like television shows from this time. Like he actually played an Elvis impersonator in an episode of Golden Girls during this time.
Is that why? Oh, no way. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I feel like Dick Ritchie is him a little bit. And like it is
Stoner Floyd.
I don't think Stoner Floyd is him. But I think like this is like he's telling his story, or how he would want his story to go, and how he views like the Hollywood system and kind of like age or producers and stuff like that, with that side of things and everything. Even though he's coked out of his mind right now, probably. Yeah. So
True Romance is an autobiography, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and I actually, when I was doing research, I saw that Tarantino has said this is his most autobiographical film, and yeah, and it makes sense. Like I just see that in every character.
Yeah, so I definitely like. As soon as you said that, Clarence, for sure, I was like, oh yeah. But then the more you were talking about these other characters, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
You can see him a little bit in all of those things.
It's kind of like I feel like there's a similar thing they say about Dan Harmon and Community, right? Like, yeah, Abed is like how he views himself, and Jeff is like how he wishes he was, like something like that. Anyways, so.
And Troy is who everybody wants to be.
Yeah.
And Britta is him, as he's only gotten dumber over the years.
Britta is the worst.
Britta is the worst. Yeah, I think it's a little bit like that. But we haven't even talked about the Drexel scene, but yeah, no, Gary, he came up with this voice. He pulled some kid in New York and just pulled this kid in and was like, hey, how would you say this? And like he had him read it all down, or read what was written. And he was like, yeah, that's the voice I'm going to adopt. And then the kid was like, I would never say any of these things, like these specific things. And so he changed some of the dialogue with what this kid kind of gave him.
Wow, the kid did rewrites?
Yeah.
Is he credited?
I don't think so. Dang. I think it's just he just used it as like improv.
Poor kid.
Yeah, poor kid. No credit. No credit at all. But then this is like the first real violence we get in the movie.
Big time.
And this is a very violent movie, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I got a fly buzzing around.
Oh, you're okay. Kill it.
I can't, man.
But there's we get a shootout, we get a beat, like Clarence gets the shit kicked out of him on White Boy Day.
Yeah.
And he has a gun and pulls it on them and shoots, Drexel's bodyguard, grabs some coke that he thought was Alabama's clothes, and that's where our tale starts, I guess. Okay,
so I'm just gonna jump ahead to one of my problems with the movie. He instructed someone else to get her clothes, right?
He
Didn't
told the girl that was at the party to grab Alabama's stuff.
and they ended up with cocaine instead.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's her fault that like all this happened.
Oh yeah.
Like, how did she mess that up?
Mm.
Maybe she was
But
cooked out.
Clarence messed it up too because he left his ID
Yeah.
at the party, and
Rookie.
it was still in Drexel's hands because
Yeah.
that Coke was not Drexel's Coke. It was some Italian mob dealer.
What's his name? Blue Lou.
Blue-
Something. Blue.
Blue.
I've got it
Blue
written down
Lou's
somewhere.
Clues. And
Blue's
yes,
Clues.
why why does she keep her clothes in a briefcase? Chat is asking.
I
Interesting.
mean,
These are good
questions.
These are good questions. Tarantino,
But cocaine instead of clothes.
but cocaine instead of clothes. This leads to, I think, well, my third scene is where it comes after this, but it is where Clarence's dad is confronted by the mob. But we do meet Clarence's dad, played by Dennis Hopper, during this point, and I think I kind of love Dennis Hopper in the like 10 minutes that he's in this movie.
Wish you would have had more. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't often get to see him play a nice guy. I feel like he's either crazy or a bad guy in everything.
Or King Koopa. Yeah.
Or yeah, that's what I'm saying, King Koopa. But yeah, Dennis Hopper is so amazing in this. And when he like Clarence gives him that whole story of, I'm into some trouble and everything, but can you tell if I'm gonna be in trouble because I killed this dude? I don't even know if he does tell him he killed Drexel, right? I think he does because his dad says it was
right.
Yeah, because he's like a 2-bit. He was like, he's a 2-bit pimp. Nobody's gonna care about that guy, and you're fine. Like,
Yeah.
go on. And so based on that information, he leaves that the California. He's like, I'm going to go stay with Dick Ritchie in California. We're going to go on our honeymoon or whatever. Here's where I'm staying, leaves the number and everything. And then I don't know if this is your third scene, but it is my third scene.
Vincenzo?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Vincenzo and the like showdown between him and Dennis Hopper's character is so good.
It's so Tarantino.
It is that whole speech is Tarantino that Dennis Hopper gives, and like I hate the speech, but
like
it's
the content.
it is so good, and it does exactly what it's supposed to. Like just like getting at the guy, knowing he's like, I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna make sure I get this guy's goat and not give up any information here.
It reminds me so much of the moment in The Hateful Eight with Samuel L. and like the general or whatever.
It is the exact same scene.
Keeps going on and on and on and on, just trying to like get as far under the guy's skin as you can.
Make him react. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did not even put that together. That's a good pull. This is very much like him going after the Bruce Dern's character in Hateful Eight. You're right.
And just like the most like horrible, like derogatory, graphic way you can too.
So I read this too. Maybe you did too. But Tarantino actually heard this speech from had heard some version of this speech from a friend of his, a black friend of his. Talking about how why Sicilians look the way they do and all this. So
dang,
brutal.
Yeah, it's tough, but it is so masterfully done, even though it's super like uncomfortable content. Especially like, man, I love Christopher Walken too. Like for the brief moment that he's in here too, is like so good.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Gary Oldman is like in here for 5 minutes, firing on all cylinders. Walken, same thing. Hopper, same thing. Just killing it. And
Yeah.
then getting killed in the process.
Killing it, getting killed.
One thing I'll know, I don't know if you've noticed in this movie is like, and maybe it's only the 2 times, but anytime somebody is trying to get information from something, it's always very easy or very out in the open and very like you can get this information. So like they're trying to figure out where Clarence is. It turns out after they kill Dennis Hopper, oh, here it is.
Yeah, right here on the fridge.
And then the scene that I want to talk about later, where she gets beat up by James Gandolfini's character. It's under the bed. Like the coke is under the bed. It's right there.
Oh,
and
how did I think to check there?
And then like also anytime that the mob comes over to Dick's house, Floyd's there, and Floyd just gives up that information willingly. So like it's always
that's one of my favorite things about the whole movie is just Floyd just like, oh yeah, well, whatever you need, man.
Whatever you need.
You guys want to smoke a bowl with me?
Yeah, he's Brad Pitt, so fucking good in this. And like again, a very un-Brad Pitt like role early in his career, but just killing it. But yeah, all the information is so easy for these people to get, and they always take like a hard way to get it, kind of thing.
They're so unprofessional, man.
Yeah,
like,
it's one.
Cover your bases first, and then torture somebody.
Exactly,
like,
exactly. Shoot first. That's their thing. Is shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's been a slow season. They were just looking for some tortures, you know.
But even with like when the cops get involved and everything, like they get everything they need from the wiretap and everything. Like it seems like it's going to be and it ends up way worse than it should be. But they get everything they need. So like information is just out there very easily for these people. I don't know if that's like supposed to be a thing in this movie, but that's something I picked up on this watch where I was just like, oh yeah, no, these guys could have done this very easily and not worried about any of the things that they've done. So
yeah, and it makes sense too with like Alabama and Clarence. Like they're not like hardened criminals.
No.
Like of course they're leaving like information everywhere and like not doing a good job at this. Like that's not who they are.
Yeah, they're not professionals. They're dumb when it comes to it.
And that's what it's just so it adds to the comedy for me. Like
yes.
like it's just like y'all are doing all this extra stuff and like just check under the bed. Like
yeah,
I mean you didn't even check the whole apartment.
First?
Like you just wanted to beat the shit out of this woman instead.
Yeah.
Like okay.
Yeah. What's your next scene? I wish we could go through the Sicilian scene and do it quote for quote, but it wouldn't even do it justice because we can't. I
do have the Christopher Walken sort of like his first big like piece written down in my list of quotes because that was one of my favorite. I think it's better than like any of like the Pulp Fiction stuff, like quoting.
I know what one you're talking about. It's good.
So good. So I wrote the whole thing down. But yeah, my next scene is but we're talking about it. But when Virgil's sort of like on the trail, goes to Floyd, ends up at the
It's okay. You're still good.
My phone says shutting down.
Oh no.
Why is that?
I don't know. We might have lost Joseph. That is okay. We'll continue. Let me take him off here for a second and we'll just talk to you in the chat and everything. So he's talking about that Virgil scene. I want to talk about a scene that happens actually before that, which is the amusement park scene. Which is a very brief scene, but it is mostly concerning Dick setting up the coke deal with what is it? Setting up the coke deal with Elliot and Lee Donowitz, the producer. So that scene I think is a very funny scene. One, getting Bronson Pinchot in here, who I think is kind of amazing. And I wish, honestly, and maybe in the chat you can, I maybe you have an opinion on this too, but Bronson Pinchot, what I mean, he was always kind of around, but like when he was in Beverly Hills Cop, super funny. Him and Eddie Murphy going back and forth on each other. Bronson Pinchot has my favorite line in the entire movie in this, and we'll go over it whenever we go over like our favorite quotes and stuff. But yeah, a long scene with these coasters where he's getting sick and discussing this deal, and it's just a very funny setup from these terrible criminals that don't know what they're doing, trying to set up a coke deal with this big Hollywood producer. I think it's very funny, and I think it's a special scene before we get to kind of the disastrous end of this movie. And then you said, shouldn't Clarence have mentioned he left his license at the club? Yeah, I don't know, like that part of it. Like, how could you just forget that you left your license at the club, or I don't know. It just seems like the hole in the, or it just lends to the fact what I was saying. Like, it's so easy. All of the information is out there. Like, it was so easy to track down Clarence. It was so easy to track him down to LA and find out what they were doing at the Beverly Hotel and everything like that. So definitely, yeah, he's kind of dumb. And like, again, like very much in love. Him and Alabama are just dumb and in love and just want to make money and live their life. I mean, what's better than that? You have an opportunity to just get some money, live the rest of your life in Cancun, Mexico with one eye. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? So the scene that I think once we get Joseph back on here, that he was going to talk about is the scene with Virgil, played by James Gandolfini. And Virgil is, tracking them down. He gets information from Floyd. He goes to their motel, and he's just waiting on Clarence and Alabama to come back. And he's just sitting there, and Alabama tries in this scene to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm this person. And she kind of was believable at first. And then she's like, my boyfriend's a football player. I kind of hated that line. Like, why would your boyfriend be a football player in LA and you're staying in a motel unless you're like, I don't know. That part didn't make sense to me. I mean, I think she also knows that she's about to get the shit kicked out of her, but she does. She gets the shit kicked out of her in the scene, and it is a brutal scene. Hard to watch scene. This is my least favorite scene in the entire movie. Because it is so hard hitting and there's so much violence. And I mean, yeah, it kind of lines up with that like Tarantino vibe, but this isn't a Tarantino movie. I don't know. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And like him talking the way that he was talking to her. And I mean, just setting up this, like, I'm going to kill you. You never forget the first person that you killed, or the first one's hard. I threw up the first time I killed somebody. And by the third one, it's easy. He throws her through like some plate glass shower, the shower thing. That's a pretty rough scene. Don't judge me, but Gandolfini is a snack in this movie. That's really interesting. He kind of looks the exact same that he's always looked to me. And I love me some Gandolfini 100%. So, all right, Joseph, welcome back, my guy.
Thanks. Yeah. And just phone overheated and was like, yep, I'm shutting down now. So
that's
there we
a bummer.
go.
Everything okay? Did you put it in the freezer?
For a few seconds. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Freezer
deal.
and fan. We'll see.
So we were just talking about, I had mentioned the scene before this where I was talking about the amusement park, because I was like, I can use this opportunity to talk about that scene before I get to Joseph's scene. But I was just talking about the scene that you were bringing up with Virgil. So
I missed the roller coaster.
You missed the roller coaster, but we'll talk about it a little bit later. Because there's a great line in there that is one of my favorites in the whole movie. But yeah, what did you want to say about this Virgil scene? I was just talking about how, rough it was, and it is
Oh yeah,
my least favorite scene in the movie.
it's. I think it's really, really difficult to watch and stomach. But I think the way that it was like designed, it actually made it one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Okay.
So I'm kind of on the opposite end from you there. It is super rough. But I think like Gandolfini is like so dark and twisted, like in this, that it was like some of my favorite acting in the whole thing. Especially like what we talked about, like it was under the bed the whole time. Like, why are you beating her up? Like, and then it like gets even more twisted when he's like, he's about to kill her, and she like has the corkscrew or whatever in her hand, and he's like, you know what? Go ahead and get daddy with it, like, because I like you so much. And I was just like, ugh.
Yeah,
like,
I did not like it.
This is gross, but I thought it was one of the more impactful scenes of like the whole movie.
There's a part where she's in the shower, he's thrown her into the shower, and like she's hit him over the head with something, and she's like laughing at him. Elvis, yeah. And she like says like, you look ridiculous, and is laughing at him. And then he like looks at himself in the mirror, and it gives her some time to like, get out of it and everything. That was a weird line for me. It was weird for me because it just didn't seem like, I mean, maybe these two kids are crazy, and we can talk. I'll probably leaning to that a little bit more. It just seemed a little out of character for her in that moment to be like, you look ridiculous. It just seemed weird to me. But
she's weird the whole time.
I mean,
man.
the best part, the best part of the scene, well, not the best part of the scene, you might have some more opinion, but like, I'm glad that she ends it.
Yes.
That is one thing that I'm like, if you're going to beat the shit out of this person, you better let them win.
Yeah.
Because I think
it was awesome that she came out on top.
Yeah.
But he's like, he's super dark in that whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's like somebody coming in for like a scene and just like shining.
Yeah.
For me, like not shining in a different way, like very villainous way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was like, I thought he was exceptional throughout that whole thing, like just being so demented.
Mm-hmm. And somebody in chat just said it's weird that he had no lines before the scene, and he shows up alone with no other cronies. Because the first time we see him, he's in the trailer with the killing of Clarence's dad, and he's just like making like weird smirks during that. And we see like 2 other guys or 3 other guys in there, and yeah, he doesn't have any of those guys with him. That is interesting. I've never thought about that. He went alone, and
yeah,
so
it's like I don't know how the mob world works, but like I'm sure there's like a hierarchy.
Yeah.
Like, so I assume he was like
the best,
the next guy under Vincenzo.
Yeah.
Who's like, all right, take care of it,
So,
but
no, I think it would have lost its impact if Clarence showed up and like saved the day.
I agree.
So
I love that she took it down, and she used every available tool that she could come up with to make it happen.
But fuck Floyd, right? For giving out the information so easily.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
No, man, he's in the clouds, bro.
Man, he's just living his own life. He's
kind of like the De Niro. Well, no, he's not quite like the De Niro in Jackie Brown, but it kind of felt like similar vibes, like just like way out there,
Mm-hmm.
just super far out there.
Yeah. But all right, what's your next scene?
The next scene was the big climax for me.
The shootout, the
You got
Mexican
anything before that?
standoff. Nope, that's exactly
Yeah.
what I've got.
Yeah.
Which a lot happens in this scene. Like I think you're taking out the whole thing. Like they meet him at the hotel. Like Elliot's getting wired up to do all this. I love the cops
because he
man.
got stopped by the cops.
Dude, I love the cops.
That's one of my favorite moments in the movie.
Is when Elliot gets caught with the coke and she like slaps it out of his hand and it's just all over his face by the time the cops Oh man,
Loved it.
he's so good. Yeah, I mean, that small actress, Maria Patillo, she's in like a bunch of ends up being in a bunch of movies in the 90s too. Small role. But yeah.
Couldn't even tell. Like she was sunglassed up. Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't even I could tell by her voice. She's in the Godzilla movie with Matthew Broderick. She's the main girl in that movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
There you go.
Good.
There you go. Sorry, Rand. I loved the Godzilla movie in 1998.
You love Godzilla.
I love
Where
that
came
movie.
from.
All other Godzillas are inferior.
Whoa.
No, this scene you get introduced to like really introduced to Lee Donowitz, the producer, who I think Saul Rubinek is amazing as this guy. Like he goes from 0 to 60 a couple times and then like just goes. I mean, ends up starting the whole like shootout, right?
Basically,
Yeah,
yeah.
he starts it with
he makes the move.
You were like my son. And pours the coffee on him, starts everybody shooting.
Yeah, coffee equals bullets, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We also get Lee's like weird bodyguards that he has too. The ponytail dude, blonde haired guy, he's from a bunch of things. The mob ends up showing up to get this for information from Floyd. And
my favorite thing about the whole scene is that the police kick down one door and the mob kick down
the other door.
Apparently. So it's just like it was so like
perfect setup, man.
Yeah, perfect.
It reminded me of that scene at the end of 21 Jump Street. There's like I mean, it reminds me of every Mexican standoff, but at the end of 21 Jump Street, they have that like same kind of like deal, drug deal in a hotel room and everything kind of
yeah.
Everybody's shooting everybody. It's pretty good. What else in the scene? I mean,
the feathers, like for me, I just kept laughing at the feather. Like apparently all the furniture was just 100% feathers.
Yes.
And like once the shooting started, it's just feathers everywhere.
That's what happened to all the doves and birds from Hard Target last week. They all ended up in these couches.
It was just like every time, like there's just feathers. There was some like coke in the air at some point too.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I think somebody shot the suitcase, so there was like
Dick throws
some powder, but the feathers were like nonstop.
I love that's Dick's move though. Is just to like launch he's like, I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna launch this suitcase full of coke, and he just runs off. We never see him.
He got out,
yeah.
right? Like he's like, we assume that he's like all good. I mean, we never see that.
Yeah, you don't get any follow up with Dick.
Which sucks because I want to know.
I assume he's doing well.
I want to know he's okay.
I think he's doing. He got that part in that show.
I hope he made it. Like I hope he's in it.
TJ Hooker remake, man, he got it.
Yeah.
But everybody dies in this scene.
Basically.
Elliot, Lee, the mob guys end up dying. The police officer, one of the police officers you think is going to end up alive, and he's going to kill his bodyguard because he killed his friend. And then he shoots that guy, and then Alabama, for whatever reason, shoots that cop and kills him. So Chris Penn gets killed.
Because she thinks he's dead at that point. He's like on the ground, like.
So she thinks that Clarence is dead. He gets shot in the eye, which is weird, and she's like, I don't know,
Awful.
it was weird. And then she laughs at him, says, "You've got blood in your eye." I like that. And they get away. They end up getting away.
Yeah, there's like the last mob guy is like doing a hostage situation down in the lobby,
Mhm.
and so like all the cops are focused on him, and they just like, "Dee, dee, dee. We're leaving."
We're leaving. They get out of there. They end up on the beach in Cancun, I'm assuming, and raising their child Elvis.
Love it.
it.
Happy
Happy
endings.
I kind of do like it. All right, who's your favorite character scene stealer?
I had to go with Christopher Walken. Man.
Okay.
Vincenzo.
I split it because I can never choose one. I suck at this so bad.
It's hard.
I love Elliot and I love Floyd. I think
Floyd is very.
I think they both have the funniest parts in this movie, or those are the most comedic parts in this movie, and yeah, I think they really steal the show in some of these.
Yeah.
But Walken's good too. I mean, that whole scene is ruthless.
Yeah.
So I think we're good there. Favorite quotes. I'll let you start. I'll let you start with your Vincenzo quote. I'm pretty sure.
You want me to start with the Vincenzo?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Oh no, that's not where it starts. "You know who I am, Mr. Worley? I'm the Antichrist. You got me in a vendetta kind of mood. You tell the angels in heaven you never seen evil so singularly personified as you did in the face of the man who killed you. My name is Vincenzo Coccati. I don't know how we're not sure about that, but yeah.
No, it's badass. It's so good.
It's so badass.
You tell
So
the
badass.
angels in heaven you've never seen evil so personified as you did in the face of the man who killed you. Is
way before he kills him. He's like, "Yeah, you're gonna die."
Yeah. I don't think I realized that the first few times I watched this movie, that he actually tells him, "I'm going to kill you."
Oh yeah, out the gate.
And like you do see it in the moment, like after he goes through all that stuff, that's kind of when Hopper turns and he's like, "Hey, you said you're Sicilian, right?" And he's like,
"Yeah,
my dad is the the heavyweight champion of Sicilian liars." I love that whole bit where he's talking about how they're good at lying, everything. That's so good.
Yeah.
I'll start with a quote from Floyd. This one is after Gandolfini leaves. He goes, "Don't condescend me, man. I'll fucking kill you, man."
That was one of my most laugh out loud moments.
Kill you, man.
Just like in the most stoner way too, like muted.
Just so out. Yeah, don't condescend me, man. Oh my gosh, that was good. What's what's another one you've got?
I mean, early one for me, which was peak pickup line, is like, "You want to see what Spider-Man #1 looks like?"
Oh yeah, that's good.
When he's in the comic book shop.
I mean, it would work on absolutely zero women, but
oh my gosh, that one got me a lot.
Also early in this movie, and I guess this is another Tarantino thing that he's written down before, but he always said, "I always said, if I had to fuck a guy, I mean, if I had to, if my life depended on it, I'd fuck Elvis."
The whole Elvis thing was really funny.
It was funny.
And I didn't realize until credits that was Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Because you don't see him really. Like it's very, very background and hazy.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. What's another one you got?
Let's see. At one point, Clarence says, "I could eat a horse if you slapped a little ketchup on it." That one made me laugh quite a bit.
My next one, these are all kind of out of order, but this is my favorite line in the entire movie.
Let's hear it.
Elliot is on the phone with Lee talking to him about the deal, and he mentions Dick, he's like, "Oh, it's my friend Dick," and Lee says, "Who the fuck is Dick?" And Elliot goes, "Huh? You want me to suck his dick?" My favorite line. He just delivers it so beautifully.
He does. He's like so distressed about it. He's like,
You want me to suck his dick?
oh my gosh. The one in chat too
Yeah.
is really good.
Do I look like a beautiful blonde with big tits and an ass that tastes like French vanilla ice cream? I had that one written down. And he says, no. He's like, okay, why are you telling me all this bullshit? Do you want to fuck me?
Oh, man.
Let's see.
Let's see, what else did I have? Dick says, like, when they first get to his place, to Clarence in Alabama, he's like, I don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out. All I got is fucking Floyd. I like
Fucking
that.
Floyd. What is this one? Drexel. Okay, so whenever Drexel is like in his confrontation with Clarence, he mentioned something about you've only looked at me dead on, and you haven't even noticed the pair of tits that are sitting or that are on the screen next to you. And he says, "Now I know I'm pretty, but I ain't as pretty as a couple of titties." I love
that. Yeah.
And then, of course, he must have thought it was White Boy Day. It ain't White Boy Day, is it?
It ain't White Boy Day, is it?
Go for it if you've got another one.
I got some other just like little random ones. Clarence, when he's talking to his dad about Alabama, he's like, "Is she a 4-alarm fire or what?"
I imagine this is exactly how Quentin Tarantino talks every day, and people around him are like, "What the fuck are you talking about, man? Just talk normal."
Normal. Let's see. I think that's pretty much. Oh no, there was one other I got. And this was actually one of my. This is connected with one of my WTF moments. Yeah, chat read me like a book. When Clarence has already mentioned that Alabama like tastes like a peach, and then when they're getting ready to leave, he's like, kiss Pops goodbye before we go, and she just like comes in for like the full like lips kiss, like they have like a little moment or whatever. Which I was like, whoa, all right, Brady. But after they leave, Dennis Hopper is like, son of a bitch was right. She tastes like a peach. So yeah.
The only one I have, it's not a funny one or anything, but I liked it, is if there's one thing this last week has taught me, it's better to have a gun and not need it than to need a gun and not have it. Smart. It's the smartest thing that he says in the entire movie, I think.
Right. I mean, he was glad he took it that first time, wasn't he?
So, I don't think I have anything else.
Yeah, the only other one I wrote down was just super cheesy when Alabama at one point says, "Okie dokie, doggy daddy."
Yeah, this is exactly how fucking Quentin Tarantino
I love
talks.
alliteration.
Okay. All right, biggest laugh, cry, scare, or thrill in the movie?
I mean, the laughs were mostly like one-liners. I think the biggest thrill for me was like the whole like climax, like shootout. It was pretty well done.
I think I laughed harder the second time that the mob people came into the house of Floyd.
The full squad, when the full squad comes in
with guns. And he's just like, whoa.
It's like, man, and he's giving like the worst directions of all time. It's like, just go down, and at some point you take a right, and then like.
All right, I've got a question though. During this scene, with everything we know about this movie and everything,
yes,
is Floyd dead?
No.
Okay.
I don't think Floyd's dead.
See, that's how I interpreted it too. I was like, he gave him the information really, really easy. Like they just asked and he gave it to him. So I'm just assuming that they just walked out. And
just like just like Virgil did. I mean, Virgil didn't even come inside.
Yeah,
He got the info at the door and was like, "All right,
don't
gone."
condescend me, man.
Especially like when he's giving up info that easy. Why would you kill him?
Yeah.
Like you might need more
That's
info
true.
down the like. If this whole thing goes bust, don't kill him.
Do you think Virgil
Just
told
go
him
back
about
to
it?
him?
Like he
Yeah.
called him on the phone and was like, "Hey, if you guys need any info, Floyd, I got a guy. This guy, he knows everything."
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine though if like Floyd, like where would this movie have gone if Floyd wasn't just giving up info?
I know, right? All right, what's your most ridiculous what the fuck moment of the movie?
So I already said like when Alabama just kisses Dad Clifford on the lips out of nowhere was
Mhm.
pretty like jarring for me. And also we talked about it briefly, the traffic stop with Ellie. I think when she just like dumped
Smacks
the
it out of
coke in
his-
his
I love it.
face.
It's so good.
And he's like, "Hey, officer." Yeah.
And again, just this is why I never want to go to LA. And if people are driving like Elliot or Lee, I don't want to be over there. Those guys are psychopaths when they're driving.
I mean, what was he doing? Was he just speeding?
Lee or
I mean,
he was getting a blowjob.
well, I know he's getting roadhead, but that's not.
But just
I
speeding,
mean, the cop
like,
didn't see that. Just speeding?
yeah, speeding and like left of center. I mean, that's a lot. And Lee, I mean, I love that scene where he's on the phone with Elliot and he gets cut off and he's like, "I'll fucking kill you."
Okay.
The only other the things that I put in this from ridiculous moments or what the fuck moments, mostly what the fuck, is the scene where obviously I've already talked about them a little bit, but they were just a little too much for me. Where Alabama gets beat up, it's just like woof, like that was a little too much for me.
Big graphic.
It is kind of reminiscent though of The Bride from Kill Bill, like when she gets the shit kicked out of her by the assassination squad or whatever. Yeah, it was very much like that. And then also I feel like the Sicilian scene is probably pretty hard to put on paper now, unless you're Quentin Tarantino and making his movie. So, but you're still going to get chastised for it. So,
I mean, he's gotten away with a lot of those scenes over the years, and I do feel like there's been like kind of like a what is the right word? I feel like people have been calling it into question a lot more these days than like okay, you got away with that back then, but like that doesn't hold up as well now.
Which scene do you think? Obviously, I think the Sicilian scene is more important and impactful to the movie. So I guess that kind of answers my question. I was going to say, which scene is worse, the Sicilian scene or the scene from Pulp Fiction where he talks about the dead storage, the dead person storage? I think here's my opinion. I think Tarantino saw the scene where Dennis Hopper gets to say the N-word like 1,000 times, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna write that part into the next movie so I can say the N-word as much as possible."
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Okay, in my mind, at least the scene that we're talking about here in this movie is how do I say this?
I agree with you, whatever you're gonna say.
I'm just gonna say better,
Yeah,
as a vague term than the scene that you're talking about in Pulp Fiction.
yeah.
The Pulp Fiction, that part, that is tough.
Yeah.
Like that is like real tough.
But it makes sense though for this scene to exist in True Romance, because he's like, "I'm gonna die. I already know I'm gonna die. I'm gonna antagonize this guy to the point where I'm not gonna give up any. He's gonna kill me before he beats out any information from me.
Yeah,
and so he's gonna get nothing.
And so I'm just gonna say the worst shit I can to him before he kills me. Yeah.
So, I agree.
I mean, he hadn't killed anybody since '84.
I know
man.
that's a long time to
He
not
got it.
kill
He
somebody.
goaded him.
9 years is a long time to wait.
Yeah.
I mean, chat says nothing.
Jess is not that. It's all terrible.
It is
For-
all
for the
terrible.
record.
Yeah, obviously.
It's yeah.
Have an opinion, chat. Come on. Be bold. We're not Joe Rogan over here. Come on.
We're not Joe Rogan. Oh my gosh.
We're not evil.
Are we Joe Rogan?
No, we're not Joe Rogan.
Okay.
We're as popular as Joe Rogan. We have that many people. We have so many. Probably have more people that hate us than like us. That's how we're like Joe Rogan.
That's how I want to live.
I'd be interested to hear your take on this. The best music moment.
So, I love Hans Zimmer.
Okay.
I really do. A lot of the music was not great for me.
Okay. Interesting. I love the "You're So Cool," like the xylophone thing. I love it. I don't know why.
I love it in a different movie, I think.
Mhm.
It just, I don't know. It just felt off. And they kept bringing it like, well, not that exactly, but like the xylophone type, like moments or whatever else they were using back in. It just felt like out of place for me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I didn't really care for a lot of the music. Sorry, Hans, because I'm a big fan of your work over the years, but not my favorite that you've ever done. My favorite music moment in the whole movie was when we first like see Dennis Hopper's character Clifford, like he's coming home from his like security job, and like I had to look up the song because I didn't even know it, but Burl Ives' "A Little Bitty Tear"
Okay.
is like playing, and he's like kind of like singing along with it, and like I thought that was my favorite of the whole movie.
Okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed I actually like the Hans Zimmer score, the xylophone thing. I think it's unique in a movie like this to have that.
Unique is a good
Yeah.
word.
And from now on, you will hear that in commercials, in trailers for other movies. You will pick up every time that "You're So Cool" thing is used because you've heard it before. I know you've heard it.
What are you guys doing?
Like I'm pretty sure I've seen it on like a preview of like, here's a lot of Disney movies that are coming out, and it's just that xylophone score. I love it.
Wow.
All right. Okay. Should we talk about Alabama? She's a fox to me in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Big Fox.
I think Big Fox, man.
I think it's as Big Fox as Patricia Arquette can go for me.
Okay.
I'll say that.
I recommend.
I'm not a huge fan.
Not a huge fan of Patricia Arquette.
I mean, not as an actress. I just
hate
as like a
Medium, the show. Isn't that the show she was on?
What is it?
Medium?
Medium?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know that.
That was like her procedural CBS show where she was like a psychic.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Was it great?
I mean,
You
it was a
love
CBS procedural, so I never watched. I'm sure my parents loved it.
It was a CBS show.
I think
It's
the way
some
that they
sort.
dressed her in this movie, obviously, like, was very eccentric, and I think it worked for her. I mean,
She was a great casting for the part. Very like kind of like zany,
Mhm.
like sort of. I think the energy that she brought to the role was perfect.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about like, like Bombshell that I'm super into.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always kind of had this weird thing with Patricia Arquette. There's a David Lynch movie called Lost Highway, which is a weird, fucking crazy movie. But she's in that movie. She looks amazing. Yeah, I think when we get to the recasting stuff, I will say I think Patricia Arquette is perfect in this movie, and it would be really, really hard for her to get recast.
Yeah.
If I were to do Fuck, Marry, Kill,
Ooh.
I had two.
Oh,
I had
hope this
I
is
had
gonna
two
go where I
different
hope it
ones.
goes.
I'm giving you Floyd, Dick, and Elliot.
Okay. I like that one. I like that
Yeah.
one. Let's see. I feel like Dick is like he's the Mary.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Dick has to be the
Yeah.
Mary of the group. And then we're gonna say fuck Floyd and kill
I
Elliot.
think that's the right choice. I think you nailed it.
Yeah, as much as like, I'm sorry, Elliot, wherever you are, but
Dead.
yeah,
He's dead.
is he really?
Yeah, he gets shredded in the shootout scene.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like
Oh,
the
not
guy
Bronson,
that's-
not Bronson Pinchot. He's still
Okay,
alive.
okay, I'm sorry.
Bronson is still
Yeah.
alive. Okay. Yeah, that is the correct answer. My other Fuck, Marry, Kill was Drexel, Vincenzo, and Lee Donowitz.
Wait, which one is Lee?
He's the
Donowitz?
producer. He's Saul.
The producer.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
Saul
okay.
Rubinek.
Ooh, okay.
He's Harvey Weinstein
Yeah.
on coke.
Ooh, okay. Drexel has to be a kill for me. I think that's where we can start.
Yeah.
I mean,
This one's tough.
Donowitz.
This one's tough.
What? Who was the other one?
Vincenzo.
Vincenzo.
You love him.
I love his acting. I don't want to be betrothed. So, yeah, he's got to be a fuck Vincenzo and marry Donowitz.
Yeah. I might yeah, I think that's the correct answer as well.
I think Drexel is worse.
Yeah,
where he has
Drexel's
to
just
kill,
awful.
right?
Yeah, I think that's the correct answer.
Okay.
Chat is finally
And we're getting
spoken.
chat affirmation.
Yeah, they're
so
they're
that feels
agreeing with
good.
us, so that's good. We should have just brought him on the show. Should have just popped
Right?
in. Okay, who do you think gave the best performance?
I'm kind of a 50-50 just pure acting performance between James Gandolfini and Gary Oldman.
Okay.
I think were my neck and neck.
I went with again, and maybe I tipped my hand a little bit too much, but I'm going with Patricia in this. She had like one weak moment for me, but everything else, like chat kind of said something really great about like her earnest happiness was very believable. Like I loved that. I think I just think her personality shined through. She shined brighter than Christian Slater did.
She shined as bright as what's the girl from Pulp Fiction? Bruce Willis's lady?
No. You guys are never gonna let me live that down.
I mean, it's Tarantino. I can say it. It's Tarantino.
Yeah.
We're talking about Tarantino.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
I want a puppy. I hate her. I hate her so much. All right, let's move into a recast of this. If you could recast Clarence or Alabama for a 1993, would you have done it?
I didn't put anything for 93. I thought it was pretty well cast. I thought Christian Slater. I'm not a huge Christian Slater guy, but I thought he kind of like brought the same sort of just like little bit of wildness, very energetic to the movie. Not obvious. I don't think it was as good as Patricia Arquette, but it was close enough where I couldn't come up with anybody.
So the only person that when I thought of this, I was like, yeah, they would have been great. I thought Charlie Sheen might have been a good Clarence.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
And Chad just asked is this the best acting Christian Slater did? I don't think so. I think his best two movies, and Joseph, I kind of talked about this a little before we even got on camera, was like, I think that, what did I say? Pump Up the Volume. Pump Up the Volume is probably
Pump Up
his
the Volume.
best. And Heathers might be his second best. So
Haven't seen either, so I can't speak to it.
or Interview with the Vampire. Ooh, Robert Downey Jr. That would have been a good age for him. Like, but is he?
Yeah.
He seems a little not crazy enough to me. He kind of falls into my John Cusack.
Natural Born Killers was year after.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting a plea from the chat to watch Heathers. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna write it down.
I would rather you watch
Done.
Pump Up the Volume. I love Pump Up the Volume. It's so good.
I'm just gonna watch so much.
Just watch Gleaming the Cube. It's a skateboarder crime mystery movie from the year 1989. Can't recommend it enough. It's terrible. It is terrible. Tony Hawk is in that movie.
Terrible. Ooh.
He can see a Pizza Hut from an airplane. That's his like only line.
That's his gift.
Yeah. To that
Jeez.
movie. So please, everybody go out there. Robert Downey Jr. and like John Cusack kind of fall into that same category. Like they might seem a little too straight-laced to be him, like not nerdy enough kind of thing. Val Kilmer was actually up for the role of Christian Slater's character, and instead they, made him Elvis in this. That's an interesting one too, coming out, off of Iceman and Top Gun, and I thought that would have been good. Also, Uma Thurman as Alabama would have lined up. No, I didn't like that one either. I liked I've only seen her in a few things, but Mira Sorvino, she's like super alt-right now, I think. But I think Mira Sorvino could have been a good Alabama. But those were my 93 ones.
Okay.
What's your 2023 ones? I've got like 6 people cast, like 6 different roles.
That's
cast.
good. I'm glad. I did try to rack my brain as much as possible, but I don't have anywhere close to the full cast here. So I just got. Sorry,
You're good.
trying to make sure my phone doesn't freak out again. Okay. Okay. 2023. Okay. And this may be a little too obvious because of how he looks, but I said for Clarence, Charlie Day.
Okay.
He looks so much like
Christian Slater
already, and then he does kind of have just like this similar like wacky energy. So and then Alabama, I was trying to think of somebody that had like a cuteness about her, but maybe like a little bit of like hidden grit. And what I came up with was Emma Roberts.
Okay. And she's kind of nuts.
Kind of nuts.
Emma
yeah.
Roberts
like
is kind of insane.
Yeah. And then the only other person I had was for Vincenzo. I would love to see Harvey Keitel.
Ooh, he's a little, Keeping it Tarantino.
Just come in for the couple of minutes. A little bit older looking Harvey. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll go through mine and I'll help out where if people don't know who these people are, I'll help you out. Clarence, I was trying to be, I was like, I want young kids in this. Like I want 20 somethings in this movie. And it's really hard to not cast the same people over and over again, but I'm doing it. I thought Timothée Chalamet could pull it off. Honestly, I like Clarence. And if you haven't seen, what is it? Bones and All. I feel like the Clarence character and his Timothée Chalamet's character in that are a little similar. Just make Timothée Chalamet a little bit nerdier and he could do it. Alabama, I think this is the best casting that I've done in the entire, this and my Elliot. Sydney Sweeney is 2023's Alabama. She is 2023's Alabama. Is she as good an actress or is she just, whatever? You know what I'm talking about? Maybe. But this would be a good, let's see if you can act a little bit. For Elliot, I went with Skylar. I never know how to say his name. Gizondo. You've seen him from Booksmart. You've seen him in Vacation. He's also in Licorice Pizza. Do you know who I'm talking
Okay.
about?
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
amazing,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I think he would be a great Skylar or a great Dick. Like that, like wanting to be an actor, struggling actor. I think he could be great. Good comic relief in there.
Yeah.
For Vincenzo, I went with Bobby Cannavale. Do you know who Bobby Cannavale is?
No
Have
idea.
you seen I'm referencing a bad thing here. This is not the reason I wanted him in this role. Bobby Cannavale in Boardwalk Empire is just as evil and ruthless as Vincenzo could be, so he's amazing.
Okay.
He was in Ant-Man. He's the stepdad in Ant-Man.
Which Ant-Man?
Both Ant-Mans.
Oh, okay. I don't recall him.
I'm trying to think of other things. He's in The Station Agent, which is one of my favorite movies. He's in The Irishman. He's in a bunch of stuff. Just look him up later if you don't know who I'm talking about. I think he'd be perfect in this. For Clifford, as the dad of Clarence, I said Bradley Cooper. He gives me some Hopper vibes. I think it's his eyes, man. They're very intense blue eyes. Does Dennis Hopper even have blue eyes? Now that I think about it, I might be wrong there.
He's got striking eyes.
He does have striking eyes. I think he does have blue eyes. But yeah, so Bradley Cooper has those, and then for Virgil, so the Gandolfini character, I went with Brian Tyree Henry, who is in Atlanta. He's also in a movie. Let's see. He's in the Bullet Train.
Yeah. Okay. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Man, I tried so hard to come up with somebody for Virgil.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of
anybody. I liked that one. Brian Tyree Henry as him and
that's a good one.
He's like big and like can be menacing. I've seen him be pretty evil and stuff too. So I think he'd be good. Yeah, that guy's amazing. Anything else? Those are the only ones I cast.
Did way better than me.
Okay. All right. You got any fun facts for us? I know we've played on a few of these, but
yeah, I think we already mentioned. Let's see. Well, we talked. Oh my gosh, phone.
Is it doing it again? All right. That is unfortunate. We lost Joseph again, but that's okay. We'll go through some of the these fun facts. So one of my favorite facts is that Pineapple Express is based on True Romance's character Floyd. And so that whole the idea of the like your stoner friend or whatever running away from the cops or from drug dealers or all this stuff that comes from True Romance and Brad Pitt's character Floyd. So let's not give what's his face too much credit for being in Pineapple Express like that. Let's give it all the credit to Brad Pitt for that. So the screenplay is actually a part of a 500-page screenplay written by Quentin Tarantino and his best friend Roger Avery called The Open Road. So it was split into two different screenplays, and the other half of it was used for Natural Born Killers. And Tom Sizemore is actually in both of those as a cop. So good for Tom Sizemore. Let's see. The scene in which Nikki, the Chris Penn's character and Tom Sizemore's detective character interrogate Elliot, that was improvised by all three actors, which was great. I think that's why it's kind of, I mean, it feels like a really or it feels like a really, I don't know, with that, it's not a big scene in this movie or really an important scene, but it does feel like it is improvised or that, it's not a scripted thing. So somebody in chat just asked, is 500 pages a lot? You don't have a reference for screenplays. So think about a 1 page of a screenplay is usually a minute. of time. So 500 pages, 500 minutes. Most screenplays are coming in at like 120 pages. A lot of horror films and action films probably come in and probably like 60 pages or 70 pages, just because there's not a lot of dialogue in those. So it's mostly just these big giant set pieces that don't require so many. So yeah, 500 pages is a lot of screenplay. A lot of screenplay. This movie is not directed by Quentin Tarantino, as we said, but it is still considered part of the Tarantino universe. The producer, Lee Donowitz, is actually the grandson of Donnie Donowitz, played by Eli Roth in Inglourious Basterds. So there's a little connector there. And then the second piece of evidence that puts them together is that Mr. White mentions working with a girl named Alabama. So Alabama is used quite a few times. He actually got Alabama from a character that Pam Grier plays in one of her like prison movies in the 70s. So her character's name was Alabama. So he's using that kind of references all over the place. Again, he said that this is his most autobiographical movie that he's ever made. Tony Scott spent a year looking for the right person to play Alabama. He rejected and considered and rejected Bridget Fonda, Diane Lane, Kira Sedgwick, and Julia Roberts. Kira Sedgwick might have been good. She could do the Southern thing a little bit. Bridget Fonda's interesting. But I'm glad we get Bridget Fonda in Jackie Brown a few years later. This film was originally intended to end with both Clarence and Alabama dying, but Tony Scott claimed that he grew too attached to them and couldn't bear to kill them off, which I think is the right decision. I actually like the decision to not, especially because it's a Tony Scott movie and it's not a Tarantino movie. It just kind of gave me different vibes. And you got that fun Hans Zimmer score, everything like that. I think that it's probably better off for them to not die, in my opinion. Maybe that's a hot take. If Joseph comes back in time, we'll see what he thinks about it. Quentin Tarantino's original ending had Clarence dying in the gun battle. It left Alabama a widow. And that caused Alabama to turn to crime and join with Mr. White. So that's that connection here. And then body count, there's a 22 people died in this movie. And that counts the possibility that Floyd was killed off screen. So I'm thinking 21 because I don't agree that he got killed off screen. So that's all the fun facts, or the ones that I saw that were fun to me anyway. Don't care what you think. But those were the fun ones for me. Like I had said, I think I kind of watched this in a different lens this time around. And the only thing that I can say, I think there are a couple times where the script doesn't take you, like it doesn't always work. And I just think that some editing could have been used in some spots, or maybe there's some editing that took away some scenes that kind of connected some pieces. Like I do feel like we missed out on some Mafia stuff, and I feel like we might have missed out on some Drexel stuff in the beginning. So that's my big complaint with the movie. And I don't love Christian Slater. Like, I think he's fine in parts of this movie, but I think he's probably the weakest person in the movie, honestly. And this movie has Michael Rappaport in it, so that's funny. That's a funny line. Okay. And like a fine wine and dish, if I could pair this movie with another movie for a double feature, what would I choose? I didn't go as good on this one as I had in the past. Obviously, the natural pairing for this movie, I think, is Natural Born Killers, especially if you think about the couple and like the crazy dumb parts of the couple in this movie, and compared to, Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis in Natural Born Killers. I think it's, they kind of go hand in hand. Now, I think that the couple, Alabama and Clarence, are more likable than the characters from Natural Born Killers. So that's a little bit different, but I love that. Thelma and Louise is a good pairing. That's a really good one. I, of course, went with Bonnie and Clyde too, just for the normal pairing. and Alyssa went with Moulin Rouge. But mostly because I told her the plot of the movie, and it has to deal with falling in love with a courtesan or a call girl or a sex worker. So that's why Moulin Rouge is there. Thelma and Louise is really good though, and you get Brad Pitt in Thelma and Louise too. So double up on the Brad. If I had to give it a rewatchability rating, I do love this movie. I think it's very funny, and I do think it's worth the watch. So I gave it a rewatchability rating of 5, and an overall star rating on this watch. Moulin Rouge pairs with anything for real. Yeah, it's true. It does. And the music's so amazing. Music's amazing. And I gave this movie, I don't know. So I had it at a 4 before this, and then I kind of dropped it down on this watch. I don't know why. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. So that's the only thing I've got though. So that's okay. Oh, and we're getting Joseph back just in time. I've got a couple questions for him, so hopefully I can ask him these questions before we get off here. Welcome back. I'm sorry that your phone's crapping out on you.
Whatever.
If you could pair this movie with another movie for a double feature, what would you pair it with?
Well, we already mentioned one of mine that I had, which was Natural Born Killers. Just kind of like if you took it to like a super psycho level, but similar, like like romantic couple, like getting into stuff kind of thing. I also had 2 others. One with the probably more widely recognized Scott brother, Ridley, who did Thelma and Louise, which I thought was pretty.
Chat said that Thelma and Louise. Nice. I didn't even make the poll.
Yep. And then the other one I had was maybe a little bit lesser known. It's a movie called Villains.
Okay.
It's Bill Skarsgård, and I don't know the other girl's name, but kind of like a similar, like they're like really like strangely and wackily in love with each other, and they go to like break into this house, and it's more like a bottleneck almost, because they like the people at this house that they break into is like a couple, and it gets like really like weird from there. But
okay, I need to check that out.
Similar vibes.
It's got I love the girl that's in it, Micah Monroe.
That's her, yeah.
She's in It Follows and Watcher, which are both 2 scary movies that I love and think are very, very good. So yeah, no, I love that. Micah Monroe.
Did you already say yours? Did I miss them?
Yeah, I went with the basic Natural Born Killers and Bonnie and Clyde. I kind of went lame. I spent all my creative energy on my recast.
On recasting.
Yeah.
You did great though. Good recast.
What was the other thing that I had to ask him, chat? I can't even remember now.
We were talking about fun facts. I missed all those.
You missed all the fun facts.
Did you talk about the prop gun that Scott shot himself?
No, go over some of your fun facts. Let's.
Okay.
I'll stop you before. If you're saying one that I already said, so the prop gun is not on my list.
This was my favorite one that I found. So Tony Scott was like in the scene with Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper. He was like, Dennis Hopper was nervous about the prop gun like going off and like burning part of his head or something like that. And when Tony Scott was like trying to reassure him of this, he had like the prop guy like fired the prop gun at his head, and it actually like part of the gun like extended out and like actually hit him in the head, and like he was like gushing blood from his head while trying to reassure Dennis Hopper that, look, everything's fine when we fire this prop gun. So that was like my main fun fact that I was like, geez, that's intense.
Yeah.
The only other thing I had was Jack Black was in a deleted scene as like a theater usher.
Oh, okay. I did not have that
early Jack Black.
Yeah, I'm sad that we missed out on Jack Black.
He was part of the Tarantino verse, man.
I had one where I had the body count was 22, but that counted the possibility that Floyd got killed off screen. So actually
Ooh, okay.
21.
So 21, 22. Okay.
Yeah. Which is pretty bloody for a movie like this. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
It seemed like a lot more people died than that, though. That's low in my
Like
mind.
it seems like a lot of people died in the shootout and the Drexel scene. Like how many people actually died in the Drexel? So was it only 2?
I guess it was only 2, but it just felt like a lot more than that. Yeah.
But then you got 2 that the Samuel L. Jackson and the other guy, that's 2, that's another 2.
yeah.
That's a lot of people. I mean, 22 is a lot.
Especially for 93, you know?
Yeah. This is like Rambo numbers.
Is it?
No, it's not. I wish I had a better movie. Now I feel bad. I'll come back with it. Let's see. I feel like went through everything that I thought I was going to ask you. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what's your rewatchability rating and your overall star rating?
Okay, so rewatchability, I said 2.5.
Okay.
And then overall, I think I gave it a 3.5.
I gave it a 3.5 on this watch too. I did have it as a 4. My rewatchability, I gave it as a 5. I love this movie.
5.
Yeah.
Wow. Even with the cringiest parts. still
Yeah.
5, huh?
I
Okay.
mean, I've seen it numerous times, so
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think that is everything about this movie. This is a long one. We did good, even though even with the issues and everything, it
I'm
still
sorry
went
about
really
that.
well.
I know
No,
it's
please don't
frustrating.
apologize. I'm just happy that we haven't had any delays or anything, so that's been pretty exciting for me. I changed something with my computer, so that's been
I
awesome.
think you fixed it.
I think I fixed it.
Now
I think
I'm
I did
just
it.
busted.
Now, gosh, that's okay. One thing at a time. We'll figure it out.
Right.
Okay, so with that, thank you, Joseph. You're awesome. You're amazing as always, and you came very well prepared. And I love it, and I appreciate you. So thank you so much. I always end on movie recommendations of something that we've recently watched. Hopefully, you had a better week this week than you did last week. Although Alyssa really loved that you watched It
I
Takes
bet
Two.
she did.
I only watched one movie this past week as well, but I'll let you go
Okay.
through some of your movie recommendations.
I did watch 2, other than this one, and one of them I will say is it. They're both not great recommendations. I'll say that. But if so, I watched The Hunted, which I think maybe some people from chat or remember from several weeks ago. That's the Tommy Lee Jones. About 10 years after the Fugitive.
Okay. And topical too, because it's directed by William Friedkin, who just recently passed away.
I didn't know that.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, so it popped up and I was like, oh, Tommy Lee Jones. And I think somebody in chat had mentioned like The Hunted as like a good like alternate movie of his where he acts really well. It was good. Definitely like felt the 10 years later vibe, like, you know, maybe not as sharp. It was more action packed, like hand to hand. Like him and Benicio del Toro like went at it like most of the movie. Also, there was so little dialogue. Like there was so much of the movie that was just silent. Like he was like trying to track him down. Like he was like an expert tracker, and Benicio del Toro's character is like trying to stay off the grid. So it was just a lot of just like he's like reading the signs and like trying to follow him and stuff. So it was interesting, but I mean, it was pretty good. I don't know that I would necessarily recommend it as like a hard and fast watch, but I also watched the new Dungeons and Dragons movie, which was fine as well. Like it was okay.
Was it fun?
It was fun. It did feel very like family friendly for the most part, which I think is what they were going for. But it still kind of felt like it was constructed almost like by like a DM. Like there was a lot of like surprise elements and like a lot of like character encounters, like, you know, like, so it kind of had like a similar feel to like a mini campaign, if you will.
Yeah.
And there was like some funny, there was a lot of comedy like with Chris Pine, you know, delivering these one-liners and stuff. So it was good. was
Okay.
alright.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
That's all you got. Okay.
Those
I
two.
only watched one movie this week, as opposed to along with True Romance, and that movie is called Widows. Not sure if anybody has seen it or knows what I'm talking about, but it came out, I think, in 2018, maybe 2017. It's by Steve McQueen, who is
Violetta?
probably. What did you say?
Is that with the one with
Viola
Davis?
Viola Davis. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I saw that.
I loved it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I think it's amazing, and I think Viola Davis freaking crushed it. She's amazing in that movie, and all the other women are amazing. Elizabeth Debicki's in it, Michelle Rodriguez, Carrie Coon's in it, and not in a very big role, and I hate it because she's amazing too. But no, it's so freaking good. I recommend that movie to everybody. And Daniel Kaluuya is fucking terrifying in that movie. And I think he should be in every movie ever made till the end of time. He's incredible.
You loved him before, and now you're
Oh
just
my
like,
God. He blew me away. He was so evil in that movie. So good. So definitely go check that out if you can. I can't recommend it higher. But you've seen it?
Yeah, I think that's maybe one of the only like recommendations you've ever came in with that I was like, I've seen that one. Yeah, I saw
Nice.
that one in theaters
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah,
back in the Movie
2018.
Pass days.
Yeah. Man. Okay. Well, I'm glad you got to see it. But anybody
That's
else out there, go see it. And then for Alyssa, I will recommend for everybody that I did watch Jared Freed's comedy special called 37 and Single. It's on Netflix. Check it out. It's brand new. It was very, very funny. I laughed very hard, like 3 times. I laughed throughout the whole thing, but I laughed like 3 times really, really hard in that comedy special. So I think it's very topical to people around our age. 37 and single.
37 and
Yeah.
single.
Yeah, there you go. So
That's almost me.
that's almost you. Almost. Not quite there. So that's all I have for movie recommendations. And again, thank you so much for joining me this week. And thank you everybody who stuck around in chat and participated this week. I really appreciate it. And if you want to keep up with us and follow along with next week's movie, it is called The Age of Innocence, directed by Martin Scorsese. It is a period piece, and it's not streaming anywhere for free. It is streaming on VOD, or you can come over and we can watch it on VHS on my small TV behind me. And we can do that. And we won't be streaming next Sunday. I've got my parents' anniversary party next week, so I will not be here next Sunday to do that. I'll have to tell Spencer or else he'll freaking die because he's not even here. Whatever, he's like not even committed to the cause anymore.
He's not even here.
He's not even here. So we'll probably do that. I'll have to talk with the guest, Alyssa, and see when she would want to do that next Monday or Tuesday or something, maybe even Saturday. But that's the next movie. Hopefully you can join us, and hopefully you can watch along and provide some commentary as well. So other than that, that is all I've got for you today. And I really appreciate it and really appreciate you, Joe. And we'll see you next time on 52/1993. Thanks, everybody.